This is Braulio Guerrero, and I'm here at the 2018 National Massage Convention and Trade Show, and I have again none other than Don McCann. Don, I was with you earlier. Care to showcase demo some of the techniques you used earlier?
Absolutely. In fact, that's what we do here at the convention. Is we actually do the core distortion release, which I talked about by working with the cranium, and I talked about the significance of that in the interview. So this will be a great demonstration of it. And what we'll do is we'll find some weaknesses. I use muscle testing that'll show the weaknesses in the body because we have the distortion. We'll have a before, we'll have a treatment, and we'll have an after. So we get to see what happens in a treatment actually.
Great. Let's go ahead and get you on the table, right?
Okay, great. So lie on your back, your head at that end. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get his arm. Going to bring it up, have you hold your arm up, turn your wrist in, elbow straight, okay? No, keep your wrist in though. And I'm going to have you just resist when I press down. Okay, you just passed your first test. Okay. But now I'm going to find out if you have a positive and a negative to go ahead and use for testing. So I'm going to do a challenge point. Okay, and resist. Do you feel the difference? So we have a weak and a strong, which means that we can use the kinesiology for testing to indicate that the core distortion is in your body. So the first test we're going to do on the core distortion is have you open your mouth wide and resist. And what we got was a weak, right? So that shows that there's an imbalance in the cranial motion, so that where your jaw meets your cranium, it's imbalanced from side to side. Next test we're going to do is have you keep your head straight and turn your eyes to the left. And resist. And that is weak. Eyes to the right, that is strong. So what that shows is that the sphenoid bone in the cranium is restricted in movement down on the left-hand side, which means he's going to have a left ilium rotated anteriorly. Now we're going to have you turn your head as far away from me as you can. Resist, you're strong. As far towards me as you can. Resist, and you're weak. So that's the back side of the core distortion. The occiput bone, the occipital bone, is restricted down on the right side. So when you turn to the right, that bone is lower and it jams into C1. So we get a weakness there. So that test gave us a test to show the core distortion. Now, to understand it even further, we're going to go ahead and test your leg strength now, which you'll be either strong or weak according to the rotations in your hips, okay? So the first test is hold your leg up. Right leg, keep it straight. Make it strong when I press down. Good strong leg. Second leg, hold your leg up. Make it strong when I press down. Did you make it strong? Yeah. Okay, it's significantly weaker. It's at least 50% weaker, isn't it? That's what happens when we get in a strain pattern. When we get these imbalances, a muscle will be 50% or greater weakness and function. Now I'm going to do some other tests because it's really going to show you how insidious this can be, because we're going to find weaknesses around each joint of your body. And when we find these weaknesses, they indicate the core distortion, but they also create areas of potentially for either pain or for injury. So here we go. We're going to check above the right knee. I'm going to use your arm to test. Resist. That's strong. Above the left knee. Resist. And there's our weak again. Now, we're strong on top of the right knee. If I check his attachments to the muscles at the medial knee, resist. He's weak. If I check behind the knee, he's weak. If I check outside, lateral side of the knee, he's strong. So he's strong on top, he's strong on the lateral, he's weak on medial, and he's weak on the posterior. The other one, if I check above the knee on the anterior, he's weak. His medial, he's strong. His posterior, he's strong. His lateral, he's weak. Now this is a spiral that goes down the body. You notice the left is different than the right because of what takes place at the hips. This will go all the way down to his feet. I can challenge in his feet, and I'm just going to make one challenge down there, but every joint in his body has 50% of the muscles weak. But I don't have time to test all that and still treat. So we're just going to test enough to show you. So our next test is we're going to check the medial fascia. Plantar fascia on his right, and he's strong. His medial plantar fascia on the left, and we have weak again. So we're going to do one more test before we go ahead and treat. Have you come onto your stomach. So roll onto your stomach. Come over closer to me. Now this is the left side that was weak when he held his leg up from the front. So I'm going to have him test from behind. Bend his knee, hold his leg up, and resist and I press down. He's nice and strong. I'll check his right leg that was strong on the front. Bend his knee, hold his leg up, and resist when I press down. And we have another significant weakness, because this hip is rotated posteriorly, so we have that rotation and imbalance posteriorly. Now, if you'll come onto your back, I'm now going to treat, but I'm going to work from his head. I'm going to release the core distortion from his head, which is going to take a little while, and I'll kind of explain what I'm doing while I'm doing it, okay? What I'm going to take is hold the occiput, so I can take the occiput in whichever direction I need to take it to release the torsion, and hold the sphenoid. I'm going to take that hold, and then I'm going to torsion the sphenoid to the left and the occiput up on the right. Excuse me, the sphenoid to the right. And what I'm doing is I'm going the exact opposite of the torsion of those two bones as they exist right now. I'm holding. All soft tissue, or all bones, are governed by the soft tissue restrictions in the soft tissue. So I'm really waiting for a soft tissue release that will allow the bones to move in directions and areas where they were restricted. There we have some motion. Now I'm taking it, while I'm still holding it, I'm going to take it through all the motions that can take place at the spinobase or synchondrosis, which is where the occiput and the sphenoid come together. Now this is very unique work. I've been fortunate to be one of the pioneers to do it, and it's been opening doors for treatment, because what we get is we get a balanced weight-bearing support all the way through the body that also allows muscles to engage and start doing the function they haven't been able to do. So it is a huge step forward that can be done very quickly. When we take a look at a therapy session, usually in the first 15 minutes to half an hour of a therapy session, and it will last long term. Before we had this piece of our treatment, we would not get long-term changes because soft tissue would keep going back based on the structure collapse that we're taking out with this particular release. The unfortunate thing is the movements are rather subtle, so they don't make very good camera. But what does make good camera is to see the changes when we go ahead and muscle test afterwards. Now, when I'm doing this, some people will experience changes throughout their body. They'll feel quivering. They will feel an area that's been hurting let go. They'll feel an area that was tight loosened. They'll feel an area that has been holding energy actually release the energy and sometimes start to vibrate. It's also possible, if they're holding a trauma from a post-traumatic stress of some sort, that will also release. That's actually a very healthy thing, because the body will continue to contract and stay tight to contain it if it doesn't. So part of the healing process involves releasing those areas and the energy that's trapped, which is oftentimes emotional. Now we're going through a second series right now already of unwinding this torsion in his cranium, and he's getting very relaxed. There's greater motion in his cranium that I can feel under my hands. And we've had some very interesting releases in his cranium. We haven't seen a lot of quivering or changes down in his body yet, but we'll check that through the kinesiology. We're not that far from that test. So bear with me. We're just about there. I've got just one or two more releases to do, and we've got the full ranges in all the directions it can go in here. All releasing the torsion that's part of the core distortion that is considered normal for people. They're born with that. In fact, a 1-year-old has 21 to 28 degrees of core distortion as normal. And that's one of the reasons why medicine has not looked at this as being a problem. The problem is the areas of pain in people's bodies that are associated to imbalance all relate to this core distortion. And when we take the core distortion out of the cranium, we bring the body into a better balance than it's ever been. This actually makes the people we work on kind of abnormal because they're above normal. They don't have the imbalances and the weaknesses that are normally there for people who are in the core distortion. So I've just about finished unwinding the first part of this distortion pattern. Just one last little movement here. It's moving nicely and freely. And we've got that. Now we're going to go back and redo the test that we did before. We're going to again go and get a strong and a weak with this right arm. Hold the elbow straight and resist. Here's our weak. Good, he's still testable. Now the first test we did before that showed the core distortion was his mouth open. So I want you to open your mouth wide and resist. That's strong now, right? Okay, keep your arm straight, keep your head straight, and turn your eyes to the left. Resist. Strong again. Eyes to the right. Strong. Head to the left as far as you can go. Strong. Head to the right as far as you can go. Strong. So what those tests have shown is that the core distortion that he started out with is no longer there, and his body's responding to that. We can evaluate through the muscle testing. Now, as that imbalance comes out of the cranium, it should come out of the rest of his body. So we're going to check the other areas that we checked that were weak to see the changes as they've taken place. So the first one's going to be a test of the leg strength again. Hold your right leg up and resist. That's strong, and that was strong before. Now the left one was really significant weak. So let's see what we have now. Hold your leg up and resist. Now he has two strong legs. We can understand how he walks in here. Now we're going to check. We had a weakness in the right knee, on the inside of the right knee. Resist. That's strong. We had a weakness in the posterior. That's strong. So I can also check on top, and I can check the lateral. So this right knee is strong all the way around. Checking the left one, we had the weakness before on top, which is now strong. We also had a weakness on the lateral, which is now strong. Checking the medial is strong, and the posterior is strong. So we can see we've stabilized his knees, we've stabilized his hips, and his whole spine has a more level base for it to continue to unwind. I'm going to check one more thing to show you that it goes to the feet. So we will check the plantar fascia, the medial plantar fascia on his left foot that was weak before. It's now strong. This one was weak, strong before, it's still strong. So what I've released is the collapsing forward of this spiral. Now, when there's a spiral, there's also a compensation going the opposite direction. So I'm going to go ahead and do a couple tests to show you that it still exists. Then I'm going to correct that, and then we'll come back and retest. So the first one is I'm going to check the ilium again. Resist. And we get a weak again, which shows that that compensation is still there. The other one is his left arm. Hold your left arm up and resist. No, I said resist. Okay. Now that's less than 50% strength, isn't it? That's why people, usually the comment I get is, oh, I'm right-handed. But I also get left-handed baseball pitchers whose arm is no stronger than that. Now, imagine you're an athlete and these legs were weak, they're now strong. Imagine we get both arms strong. Is that going to make a difference in your performance? Yeah, it is. So I'm going to go ahead and do the release of the compensation for the core distortion now, and then we'll retest that. And it'll take about the same time with my hands on, but we'll only have these two tests to go ahead and test afterwards. I'm going to take the same hold, but instead of releasing the torsion by coming up with the sphenoid and down with the right ridge of the occiput, I'm going to go the opposite direction, which is the direction we just came from. And I'm applying the pressure. I'm feeling the cranial bones start to move, and I'm feeling the soft tissue restriction to that. Now it's starting to release. Now it's going down, and I'm taking it through those ranges of motion that will allow it to free entirely. And it's doing nice movement, nice releasing. Again, he's being very relaxed and very cooperative. People will do that. They want to get better. They want to feel this, and it actually feels good. You feel your whole body letting go.
So we definitely saw the changes the first time you made it, where he was weak at certain areas and he's stronger. So now what we're expecting to see is that his left arm, he's going to be strong again, correct?
And it's going to be stronger than it's ever been in his life, just like his left leg got stronger.
Orlando, have you ever had this treatment done before?
Never.
Never. Did you know Don McCann? Did you know who he was?
No, not at all.
How are you feeling?
I'm totally relaxed right now.
We're going to check in with you once this is done, and we're going to see how you feel, okay?
All right, boss, thanks.
Yeah, I wouldn't choose somebody to demonstrate on that already had it done because they wouldn't have tested weak. That's a long-term change that we're getting here. I have a challenge on every client I ever see because I never know for sure a client, I'll get the chance to work with them again, that they'll come back for another session. So I want to do something that's going to have a positive impact for the rest of their life. And in 15 to 20 minutes, I can do that with this. And weaknesses or injuries or degeneration that would have taken place in his body won't take place now because he's going to have support he didn't have.
And I just want to make our viewers aware that he has never done this treatment before. This is the first time ever, and that's why it's so important that he's, like Don McCann said, that he gets somebody on the table that has never done this before, right?
If somebody had had this done, they might have some weaknesses that would show up in the cranium, but they wouldn't have the core distortion, so I wouldn't be doing the core distortion release. If I do it once and do it completely, it'll be done hopefully for the rest of his life. I can't say the rest of the life for people, but 30 years is a pretty good time and they're still maintaining. When I got this part of the therapy, problems with people's backs, problems with people's TMJ, problems with people's necks, knees, hips, feet, that I would work on in 2 or 3 sessions were now being corrected and they were out of pain and going back to normal life activities. Where before we may work up to 20 sessions and they still couldn't go back to normal life activities because it would pull them back into the pattern that caused the problem. So this seems to be the golden nugget or the missing link in structural rehabilitation. It's interesting because I say this to people and a lot of people don't believe it. They say it sounds too good to be true. And I hear that and I had to say, get on the table. We'll go ahead and do a free session with you as far as the cranial structural core distortion release to show you what we have to offer. And time again, that's how we fill our classes of people that want to learn how to pass this on and do that same sort of treatment for their clients. The other thing is, after this, his body's going to continue to release in the soft tissue the core distortion. And it will release as much as it can. And when I say that, there's scar tissue, there are adhesions, there's other injuries or there's other blockages that can't release without manual therapy. So it's not like we do away with the need for manual therapy, but we have a structure to rehabilitate to after this, plus the muscles that we're not engaging and not able to stabilize are able to stabilize, so the changes are much quicker and much more complete. And we're just about ready to go ahead and finish this part of it. I've been doing this for 30 years now, helping to develop it. And I developed it specifically to integrate into the soft tissue we do as soft tissue therapists. And because of that, it'll be different than what anybody else does or anybody else has developed. But I was the only person that was standing my clients up, looking at their whole body structure and seeing this core distortion and seeing what would come out and wouldn't. So I had unique reason to continue to develop and continue to question and go the directions we did on our treatment. Now
We're going to go to this test, which you tested, correct me if I'm wrong, you tested almost 50% weaker in your left arm and in the right hip, correct?
In the left hip, correct. And now we'll come back and retest those. Hold your arm up and resist. And that's strong now. Now this left arm test, is he still a wimp or does he have a big strong arm? It's funny because a lot of women are just stronger than men after they have this done. Resist. Quite a different arm, right? Okay, what we're going to do now is have you come up to your feet, standing up. Come up slowly because you can sometimes be a little lightheaded. And then just stand, kind of face the camera maybe. And as you're standing, get a sense of how your body feels, how erect, how your feet feel underneath you, how you feel supported.
My feet feel really good, and that's my problem for me. I stand up a lot on my work, and right now I don't feel it in my feet at all.
How are you feeling right now?
I feel really good.
Feel relaxed?
Real-
Did you feel any of those surging sensations that he might have mentioned, a release of any kind? Did you feel anything, trickling water sensation, anything like that?
I felt on right in here, my mid-trap area on my right side. I felt that tingling, and I felt right in here in my glute. So I don't know what was going on, but I feel the glute still right now, but I don't feel the on the right side of my shoulder.
So sometimes you feel the active release, sometimes you feel it afterwards, sometimes the energy will flow, move out, release, and then it'll feel normal. This is going to become your normal, so in a couple days you'll not notice any difference, except that you'll be standing straighter and you'll have the strength in your body. And you'll be more functional. Are you an athlete? If you were an athlete and you were running or jumping or doing things like that, you'd notice a difference in your performance because all these muscles are working now. So it's huge for athletes that way, but everybody has a body and does stuff in life that having their body more supported and stronger is going to be better. So thank you for being part of this presentation, and we'll see you around, okay? Okay, thanks.
Don, before we log off here, tell me about why you chose FSMTA as your platform to bring some of your therapists, correct? They're all certified and set?
Correct. One of the things we want to do is we want to expose therapists to the possibilities. Like I said, this seems too good to be true sometimes. So we want to expose them to the possibilities for them providing this service for their therapy for their clients. The other thing I found out is a lot of therapists are in pain. They are just walking around, taking care of others, bending over tables, carrying tables, helping people off tables. They have a lot of back issues, a lot of arm issues, a lot of leg issues. We can come here. These are all volunteers who have taken my training, and they all believe in it so much and have had so much change in their own lives that's positive. It's like a gift and a present we give to massage therapists. Part of it is self-serving because we want them to take our classes, but also no one's getting paid. We're here to give this away so that therapists can go back after the convention and be in less pain. So it's one of those really win-win situations, and everybody here loves doing the work.
Guys, listen, I know it's too good to be true, right? But that's why you need to come here to the FSMTA convention and let Don McCann or some of his therapists work on you so you can see for yourself the changes. None of these people you see today are actors. We're all therapists here to enjoy one another's company and to learn different modalities and techniques to ever grow in this industry.
Correct. So please come to places like this. If you can't come to the convention or whatever, come to our website. There is a tremendous amount of published material on that website. If you are somebody in pain, you'll probably be able to read about your condition and how we've helped you, giving you hope and hopefully find a structural energetic therapist in your area. However, we have people coming all the way from Europe to Lutz, Florida just to get treated. If you're a therapist and you are tired of seeing the same old problem repeat over and over and over again, and you want to be more effective and you want to be at the top of your profession, come get trained with structural energetic therapy. It's like going to a graduate school and really becoming a specialist in the rehabilitation of the conditions that cause pain. So we'd love to see you, and hopefully you're going to enjoy what you've learned.
Don, and to take his course. This is wonderful. Don, again, it's an honor to have you here. You guys take care, all right?
Okay. It worked?
Yes.